So I don't know what that's about, but like,
Skip
is that weird? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Unlock Your Freedom podcast with Kevin Keppel. Super excited to learn from and with Dara Rosenbaum today. Dara, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? What's up?
Yeah, I just totally pronounced your name wrong, so that's awesome. It's Dara Rosenbaum.
I always say it depends on where you're from, so I'll take it.
Yeah, we get a lot of grace here in Texas because we kind of talk weird. So, yeah, but thank you for being humble and graceful with me. I even looked it up on how to pronounce. I was like, I'm pretty sure I know it is Dara, but let me go ahead and just step all over
I said,
that.
as long as it's not a 4-letter word, I'll answer to it. It's okay.
Yeah, even some of those, right? Like, but
probably
not the answer you want, right?
Exactly.
All right, kick us off. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you serve people.
Yeah, so I am a business attorney. Been practicing for over 20 years, and I have had my own firm for about 10, working with a partner for the entire time. So pretty much, beginning of my career, Scott and I have been working together and formed Rosenbaum Taylor about 10 years ago. So business law attorney, advisor, strategist, cheerleader, relentless supporter of small businesses and entrepreneurs. On the side, not so much on the side, I'm a wife and mother, and I have a 3-year-old at home. So it's definitely a balancing act, but I love everything that I get to do. So I'm happy to do it all.
Wow, a 3-year-old at home. So I'm sure that that feels like you have a little attorney running around the house sometimes. The great debate.
She will be, yeah. I think she will be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm sure she knows what she wants and is happy to share that with you on the regular.
At 3, don't they all?
Yeah. Well, I think I still do. I don't know if I ever grew out of that.
Okay.
So I'm pretty certain. Well, I love, the way that you just showed up. We were talking in the green room before we kicked it off, and I was watching some Dara's videos, and I was like, man, you're like a real person. It's really cool to see, authenticity like that. And she's like, yeah, well, I try to be. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to have you here with us.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
So tell me a little bit about, some of your favorite types of people to serve. I heard you say, entrepreneurs, business owners, and obviously, it's business. So could you just illuminate that a little bit more for me?
I love passionate people. I love people who are excited about what they're doing. So I've dealt with people over the years who had a side hustle, want to make it into something more formal, people who are getting into family businesses, getting out of family businesses, transitioning the businesses that they're in, starting their own things, looking for new roles. So I would say business owners and business leaders who are passionate about what they do, want to do it well, want to serve their customers, their clients, and their community, and need that support from somebody with my kind of experience to do that as well as they can. So that would be those are my people.
Yeah, that's really cool. So how would somebody know that maybe it's time to call you?
Listen, sometimes they don't know that it's time to call me, and sometimes they call and say, like, I think I need a business attorney, but I don't know why. So one of the good things that I get to do is sort of that whole discovery call. Like, let's start from the beginning. Let's start with how you formed, what you did, why you do it, what your structure looks like, what your internal structure looks like, what your external structure looks like in terms of your relationships. And, I do that as an informal call. I do more formal, I call them legal audits, where I really go in and take a look at all the vulnerabilities and weaknesses. And we really just try to shore up all of those things. So that's sort of the, hey, I need a business attorney, I think, but I'm not sure why. And then other people who are dealing with, formation. What do we need to do at the beginning so we don't have to think about these things again? Sometimes I steal from the, it was a 1990s infomercial where you could put the entire meal in the oven and set it and forget it. So a lot of what I do is sort of the set it and forget it type. Get your operating agreement done, stick it in a drawer. When you need it, it's there. You don't have to think about it again. Get your agreements with your employees, get your employee handbook, get your agreements between your partners, between your owners, get those done, update them as you need to, but just put them in the drawer. They're ready to go. Get a contract you like with your customers, clients, vendors, whoever you're providing your service or your products to. Get all that done and have it. I think that I don't know that sometimes people call me because they're not sleeping well at night. Sometimes they call me and they're not really sure if they need something, but they're sleeping a whole lot better after they realize, like, okay, all right, now I have all the right insurance. My contract reads the way I want it to. I'm not going to get bitten by something. Or people call me with legal disputes. I'm being sued. I need to sue somebody. I think I might get sued. Do I want to sue? So I'm a sounding board when people don't even really know what they need, or certainly, spring into action when they know what they want.
What would it look like if it was someone who waited till too late to call you?
I would say it's not never too late, but it's rarely too late. So sometimes it's we never had an operating agreement. We never had an ownership agreement. We just, shook hands over drinks one night, and this person became my partner, and we don't have anything written. And now they want to get out, and we're fighting over everything. We're fighting over inventory. We're fighting over equipment. We're fighting over client lists. We're fighting over who gets what share of the pencils. I mean, that's the time when the emotions are high, and I think that's something that I sit there thinking like, law degree didn't come with a time machine. So if I could go back and fix all that, we would. But you take it where it is, and my job, I think, in part, is to kind of take down all that emotion. Just take down like, okay, let's just try to. We're going to deal with this. Let's come up with a strategy, and let's deal with it the best we can. So I would think once something has gone wrong, is probably the later time of when people should be reaching out.
Yeah, I like what you said about really taking the emotion out. I think that's pretty powerful. And so, call Dara for logic, and
I like that. I'll take it.
yeah, no, it's simple, but I think that's really powerful because we get emotional and we start making these reactions and compulsive decisions, and it's like, okay, it was kind of bad before, but now it's terrible what you've done. Like you just
Right,
stomped all
right.
over it.
Or you're trying to have that conversation with the person who you're in a dispute with or in a lawsuit with, or who's threatening to sue you, and it's just getting worse. So sometimes it's nice to have that, the buffer, the professional. I can talk to somebody else's attorney. I can talk to somebody else's advisor. We can work together to resolve the issue, and you take the tears out of it, you take the hand wringing and teeth gnashing out of it, and you try to just get to like, listen, I know this is important. I know this is keeping you up at night. I know you're worried about your family. I know you're worried about the livelihood of your business. But let's focus on what we can focus on. Let's take it apart and do it piece by piece.
Yeah, I think that's pretty brilliant advice. I want to talk a little bit more kind of on the personal side for a second. You're dealing with people who are potentially suing each other or being sued, just really high stressful, emotional situations, and they're bringing that to you. How do you protect yourself from owning all their baggage, so to speak?
I would say there definitely are times, and I've definitely had them over the years, 20 plus years. I've had a handful of cases that get emotional for me, that there's just, I get that connection to something, and it lives with me. I would say that I see it, like I said, it's sort of taking the emotion out of it. Let me apply, I got to calm down, and I apply my skills best, and I apply my logic best, and I do my best work when I'm calm. So I think, it's all the important things. It's exercise, it's regular time with family, it's working in a great office that I love with people I really enjoy working with, where, I may be in battle on the phone, I may be in battle in court, but when I come back here, it's serene, it's calm, there's no yelling. We've built a team of people we really enjoy working with. Chose the best business partner I could possibly have, just the most loyal person I could ever work with. So I think having people around me who support me and who, kind of ground me and give me that comfort is huge, because some of those, some of the work, does get emotional and nasty. And you kind of have to come back to a place, physically or not so, or not so physically, where you're a little bit calmer.
Yeah, well, I think that's so crucial. I mean, anybody who's ever read a book on leadership or personal development, it's like you're going to be like the people you spend the most time around. And if I have these calm, resilient people that are really good at staying around their baseline, and that's a pretty powerful anchor to be able to create from. So, kudos to you guys for creating such a fantastic culture like that, because it
Thank you.
starts at the top. Like if you weren't showing up with that, it wouldn't be there.
To me, everyone does their best work. I mean, we take the work really seriously. We don't take ourselves too seriously. So I think probably some of that probably comes across in my videos, and it comes across in the fact that I'm wearing jeans right now. And it's a comfortable place to be. Like I said, we take the work very seriously. The clients get top-notch service. But here it's nobody yells. We don't tolerate that. No, it's not stuffy. It's not regimented. It's great flow of ideas, great people doing great things, and that's who I want to be around.
Man, that's cool. I want to come work with you guys. I saw on
Come
your
on in, the water's warm.
yeah, I saw on your LinkedIn profile you had the hiring banner on your picture. So,
yeah, we are hiring. So
yeah.
anyone knows an attorney looking to work in New York and New Jersey, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What a great place to work. So what's the vision for you? What's the dream?
So we've been in business 10 years. Like I said, we've been doing this. I've been doing this 20 years. Scott's been doing it probably 40. The vision, I think, is to kind of grow the firm a little bit. I don't want to be huge. I still want to have that personal touch, but I'd like to kind of add on some of the things that we don't do that I think would be complementary for our clients. A little bit more IP work, maybe some of the bankruptcy work. I just think, kind of complementary services so people can handle the same work that we're still doing, but have a little bit of additional expertise to expand a little bit so that people, I love referrals. I love having people I can send people to. And I have those people, but I think it would be nice from a business model perspective and just from a client service perspective, not to have to send people other places for things that are kind of tied to work we're already doing for them.
Sure. So, what is, as a business owner and entrepreneur yourself, like what are some of the challenges that you've overcome, and then maybe something you're currently facing, working through?
I would say that the big challenge was nobody taught me anything about running a business in law school. It's just not something that I sought out, and not something that anybody really really focused on. So for the first few years of the firm, I saw it as I practice law and I have my own firm. And somebody in passing said something about owning a business. I was like, yeah, I do. I own a business, but it didn't feel that way. And I think that sometimes I see that from my clients too, where it's like, well, no, I'm a landscape architect, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a accountant, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a general contractor. They're doing the work and they're serving the clients or making the products or distributing the products or retail, whatever it is they're doing. They don't see themselves as business owners. They kind of have that focus on this is what we do without looking at that bigger picture. And I think that some of the things pitfalls I've fallen into is not being as intentional about the pieces of the business that I need to know. Everyone says a big maxim, know your numbers. And I always had like a general sense of how things were going and generally what should be coming in and generally what we spent. I had to get really serious about knowing the numbers because, that's where your profit's going to come from. And that's how you determine pricing. And that's how you determine hiring and firing, not firing, but hiring decisions or layoffs. It's how you determine what office space you're going to get. It's all those determinations that I think you need to go into making really conscious, well-informed choices. And I think that those are the things that I definitely didn't know early on, still learning all the time, but I definitely have a much better handle on, okay, it's a business. Here's what my monthly expenses are. Here's how I calculate this. Here's how I calculate profitability. Here's how I calculate, associates' hours. So all that stuff went into it. I'd say in terms of what we're dealing with, probably everything's anything everyone's dealing with. The world's changed. And we're doing more virtual work for court than we were doing. We were always in the building. It's different. The cases are running differently. The clients looking for service in a different way. They don't want to come into meetings. They want to have phone calls. They want to have Zoom meetings, which are great. Tend to take probably a little bit longer than a phone call would. So I think it's just navigating what people need and responding to. All sorts of different industries are having all kinds of different issues. Supply chain issues, HR issues, whatever the industry specific issue is. So we've had to learn. Have to learn a lot about these changing needs in different industries. Down to cancellation policies and payment policies and things that are affecting the way people are doing business, especially now. It's been a huge education, and it's the way that I try to partner with my clients, just like, okay, let's talk about how this is working. Let's talk about what everybody else is doing, how you want to do it. So I think there's a lot of that's probably the challenge, is just adapting to change and making sure that we do it the best way we can.
Somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm not very good at change. Like, what tips could you offer me?"
I think I try to focus them on what they already know. It's whatever it is okay. Let's start with how it's not that different, and let's focus on the kinds of the reasons that the change is going to be good. Are there ways we can implement the change more slowly, more gradually? Let's stay within your comfort level. You don't want to leave on Friday afternoon and come in Monday and feel like you're in an entirely different company. You don't want to make these wholesale changes that are going to affect all of your employees and all your co-owners and all of your clients and customers and vendors without some sort of lead up to it. So, what kind of runway do we need on that? What kind of preparation can we do? How can we ease people into these ideas? Is it having a meeting with your employees to discuss things before you do them? Is it speaking with your fellow owners of the company and your business leaders and your key stakeholders about things to figure out what needs to change? I think that the thing that I'd recommend against is, the person at the top coming in and saying like, okay, I've been giving this a lot of thought and I'm going to do this differently. They may have been giving it a lot of thought, but the people they're talking to haven't. And it's coming it's coming out of nowhere like a slap in the face. So I think what I try to do when I'm trying to get somebody comfortable with change is all those steps. Let's think it through. Is it necessary? Why is it necessary? How can we implement it so that you're comfortable with it? If you don't, you can be the kind of person who wants to jump from A to Z and just get it done. You may be the kind of person who kind of needs to wade into it. And then sometimes my role is, okay, no, you want to do this slowly, but really we've got to get this fully implemented in the next 3 months. So let's see how quickly we can do that while still not driving you crazy, while still not taking up 24 hours a day of your time, not interfering with your family on weekends, and not just wreaking havoc with your mental state. Let's try to get it done in the right way possible. So I think it's a lot of coaching, I would say, and it's a lot of well-earned experience from 20 years of helping others, and then 10 years of doing it on my own.
I think there was so much brilliance in what you said, but the definite highlight of that for me was don't change everything instantly,
right.
because you're going to scare people, you're going to confuse them, and they're just going to shut down, and you're not even going to know why, because a lot of people don't want to look stupid. They're not going to say anything, and you really eliminate any opportunity for flow when you do that too, because flow is when it's at the top of your skill set, not massively outside of your skill set, and so I love the way that you broke that down for us. That's
I think when you do it in small steps too, you have more opportunity for course correction. If you stand on the gas pedal and you go 100 miles an hour, you're not going to be able to change course very easily. But if you're doing things in steps, you've got a 10-step process. You go from step 1 to step 2, things are okay. Step 3, and it's not looking like it's going the right way. Let's go back to 2. Let's go back to 2.5 for a second, and let's see where we need to go. Because if we go from 3 to 4, we're heading in the wrong direction. So I think that kind of slowing it down and making it more of a step-by-step process and a gradual process makes everybody more comfortable, but also allows for more input and allows for more course correction when you need it.
Yeah, and that's pretty brilliant too, because if you have all these changes you're going to make, and we don't have feedback until we're in action, and it's everybody's got a plan until they're punched in the mouth, according to Mike Tyson, right?
Exactly.
And it's you can waste a lot of time making a plan that you never use, because once you start moving, you realize that it's not the way you want to go, but you create this expectation that this is where I'm going, and then you fight to be right about this thing that's not even serving you. And if that sounded like personal experience in there, it was. And
I think, and I'm not saying this is you, but I think that it's also a credibility issue. If you go in there and announce some big change to everybody in the company, or announce a big change or a big policy change or whatever it is, and then you realize pretty quickly or not so quickly that it was the wrong one, you've got to start over, you kind of develop a credibility issue. And I think that if you're just kind of let people more into your thought process and let people understand what you're changing, why you're changing it, and what's coming, it makes it a lot easier to keep your credibility when you have to make those little changes.
Yeah, I think that right there, the transparency that you mentioned, just help people understand what's going on, kind of why you're doing what you're doing or where you're going. And I think a lot of people create a disconnect, but not necessarily malicious or nefarious, right? Hiding it, just they'll see, and people just don't know what they don't know. And so I want to back up a little bit, and I'd love to know, what got you started practicing law. What's the why behind it for you?
So what got me started is a whole different question than what the why. What got me started was I had decided junior high school I wanted to be a coroner. That was my big plan. That was a great show on TV I liked watching, and I thought I'd be a coroner.
6 Feet Under?
No. Well, I'm older than that. No, it was a show called Quincy with Jack Klugman.
I used to watch that one.
He was the coroner. He was he's the medical examiner, and I didn't understand until I think it was my great grandmother who told me he's sort of like a coroner / detective / private investigator. For the most part, you're going to be in the basement doing autopsies. You're not flying around the world interviewing people and catching jewel thieves. It's not really what I was planning on doing.
Yeah.
So switched pretty quickly from that, let go of that dream. And just really liked debate team, really liked on the mock trial team and those kind of things. That's sort of how I got into law, and then went straight from college into law school. So no break there. And I think the why for me, the why was always, even before I owned my own company, the why was always helping people. The why was always using what I know and who I know and what I've learned to help people. Like, listen, yeah, I've seen people do it this way. It's just, these are the kind of pitfalls of doing it that way. This is how I'd recommend you do it. And I think that having, it always felt good to me to use the education I had, the experience I had, and, the skills that I think I have to help people in their businesses, to help people get their businesses started, to help them grow, to help them transition, to help them plan for the future, whether that's buying something else, merging with something, selling the business, retiring. All of those pieces, I think, need that kind of advisor. So my why is to help people who are, like I said, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business leaders to do what it is they do. I'm the foundation. I'll get the foundational stuff done, and I'm here as an advisor to allow you to go out and do what you do best. If you're a plumber, get your plumbing company out there doing plumbing. You shouldn't be in the office worrying about, how the contracts are written, or a dispute with a client, or a lawsuit from somebody. Have me for that. So I like to be that kind of resource, woman behind the company, where it's like, you guys do what you do. I'm not going to presume to tell anybody about how to do what they do, but I can help them do it, better, with less risk, more efficiently, and those kind of things. So that's sort of the why, I guess, as to why I like doing what I do.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, and that parallels kind of the why that I like to think about. It's like, like the whole point is growth and giving. The more we grow, the more we can give, and grow in our specific gifts and talents, and how can we serve other people with those. And like, one of the best byproducts of that for me is, like, I don't have time to worry about what's in it for me or what's not in it for me when I'm focused on other people like that.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously I can't give what I don't have. So I'm super intentional about, growing myself so I can, continually evolve to higher levels of service. And so I would imagine you're probably the same. And so what types of things do you do to grow you?
I mean, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I meet as many people as I can. I love hearing what other people do. And I've got a great memory, which has served me pretty well. I meet somebody and say, like, listen, I know somebody you should talk to. And that may be a business opportunity, that may be a mentorship opportunity. It may just be, hey, really cool person you want to have in your life. You never know where it's going to go. So I think I exercise that. I don't want to call it networking. I call it connecting. Kind of exercise that connecting muscle when I can. I've been mentoring one young woman, now another young woman, for 15 years now.
Wow, that's awesome.
And just really love, I love seeing things in a new way. I have a friend who's often said, put yourself in the role of the student every once in a while, to realize how difficult it is to learn something new, or how difficult it is or intimidating it can be to do something that you're not familiar with. So I try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah.
There are people who know so much more than I do about all kinds of things. And, between reading and talking to people and just getting those questions answered, why do you do what you do? What do you love about it? And sometimes the question is, what do you do? What is that you do? What is that title you have? I think I recently did a video on it, but the movie Philadelphia, where Denzel Washington plays a lawyer and Tom Hanks is the client, and he leans over the desk and is like, explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old, because I don't get it. And I think that, one of the things that I do for myself in terms of my own growth is take that 2-year-old role sometimes. Is, you tell me, hey, prospective client, I know a little bit about what you do. Talk to me. I know your industry. Talk to me about how you like to do what you do. And the more of that I hear and the more of that I learn, I take what I can for myself and, use that for growth. And I also take all that information and use it, when I need to pull it out for clients. Hey, yeah, I actually know somebody who did it that way. Or I know somebody who recently hired a great company to do that. I know somebody who's using a great software system. So just the more information I can get, the better off I am.
I think that's pretty profound advice there too. Talking to people and like they're 2 or 3, and not in a disrespectful way, in a way to be simplistic, because simple ideas are remembered, simple ideas are repeated, and and a lot of people just don't have the attention span to stick with you for paragraphs and paragraphs of information. And and if you can't explain it simply, you probably don't understand it that well.
And also, if you're giving a long speech, they're not going to ask questions. They're not going to get to know what they need to know. So, you know,
Great.
to me, that you give the answer, let them ask questions. Or if they're not asking questions, so like, you know what, actually, one of the things people ask me when I talk about that is, I just think the conversation is better than than the monologue.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so much better. Well, it's like more like tennis, right? As opposed to like, I hit the ball over the net, then you catch it and run with it for 30 minutes. Like, that's not a very fun game of tennis at all, right? Like,
No,
you never hit it back.
exactly. I'll just sit down. You guys can play. You can play by yourself.
Yeah. Let me know when you're done.
Exactly.
That's pretty funny. So I
Yeah.
love how you're talking about really challenging yourself to do hard things and continually I do the same thing. I think it's important to humble yourself in that way.
Mhm.
And like, I do things all the time to prove that I don't know everything. And what's something recent that you did that was hard, that was kind of new to you maybe?
I mean, gosh, motherhood's been the last 3 years of that.
Yeah, I
You know,
bet.
every aspect there. I think, but more recently, I think, and not terribly recently, but you know, the firm when we started it had the same clients and the same same cases and same matters that we had at the old firm. We were very blessed to travel the country, shake everybody's hand, and everybody came with us from the old firm. We never really went out and got clients. We didn't need to go out and get clients. It never occurred to us. It was like, this is going just fine. And it just sort of dawned on me a few years ago, like, what if we advertised or like got ourselves out there more? What if we had more of a presence so that people could know what we are and what we do? Because, that's how you grow, and that's how you get exposed to more things, and, have a more diverse practice and all those kind of things. So, I something I had no idea how to do, like, how do you put yourself out there? How do you create that kind of brand awareness? What do you do? And someone said, you have to do video. I was like, all right, I'll do video. So I started with stock videos with kind of, quippy, quirky kind of, taglines and things like that, people thought were amusing. It didn't say a lot about the brand. It said a lot about probably my personality, but not a lot about the firm and what we do. And the same person said, like, okay, yeah, good videos, but no, in the videos, you need to be in the videos. And I said, I'm totally comfortable in a courtroom before a judge, on the phone with a client, in a meeting. I'm good. I really want to be on YouTube. Like, I don't know that I really want to be, out there for it. That just feels very public. And also, like, who am I? Does somebody really need to hear from me? So I think one of the things that I've stretched myself to do and kind of gotten out of my comfort zone on and done that fake it till you make it thing is sort of the branding and the soft marketing, I would call it, getting people to know who we are and getting people to have those conversations. So it's definitely back to nothing they saw in law school, nothing that's really evident when you're sitting in your office doing the work every day, but a whole different skill set I just had to learn.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. Like, I love to talk. I talk all the time, and
Yeah.
doing videos about your brand, your business is totally different
Yeah.
than anything else you've ever done. Like, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
used to do acting, like TV and film, and so like I've been in front of the camera, but then like turning the camera around like that, just it's such a different thing, and
Very different.
it's
Yeah,
like
because you're not playing a character. You're just supposed to be you.
yeah, and then it's like feels like, well, I don't want to be narcissistic, right? And sit here and talk about
Right.
the greatness of me, but you know, my favorite subject. But I think it's so apparent in the way that you came across in the videos that I watched. It's not about look at me at all. It's like hey, here's us, here's what we do, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just real. And I think authenticity is one of the most powerful leadership traits there is, and that leads to consistency too. And I think you were talking about that a little bit earlier. And
Yeah.
who I am on camera is who I am, at the grocery store or whatever. If you run into
Right.
me, same
Right.
thing. I might just
Because
be dressed.
you don't want to put something out there. Someone sees, like, oh, I looked it up on LinkedIn. I watched your videos, and I know I've met you. You're not at all like what I expected. I want people to come and go like, oh, I feel like I know you. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I've heard you talk about, your grandmother. I've heard you talk about your family. I've heard you talk about your philosophy in business. I started my videos with, in the beginning, 3 steps to do this and 5 common mistakes about that. And I very quickly felt like it wasn't me. It was, the dry content that somebody can get from a checklist just didn't feel like what I want to talk about. So I was like, you know what? What's my differentiator? My differentiator is, hopefully, in a good way, who I am, what I do, how I like to do it, my philosophy on doing it, who I like to do it for, and that connection that I want to make. So that's sort of how I shifted, I think, to doing videos that hopefully are more authentic and are giving people kind of a better window into, oh, if I work with Dara, this is how she's going to be. And when I talk to her on the phone, she sounds just like she does in the videos, same somewhat quirky sense of humor, and hopefully same warmth.
I think that's really cool though, because that's who you be, right? And I know a lot of late people, so to speak, lawyers, accountants, engineers, even teachers can be very pragmatic. And my dad was a CPA, and he was
Mhm.
awesome at it, but he loved to live on the left side of the brain, right? The
Right, right.
philosophical side wasn't always jumping around with it.
Mhm.
Brilliant guy, but
Yeah.
I feel like you're playing really to the whole brain, so to speak, and you're really good at being creative as well as just logical. And so, is that something you've always been pretty good at, or is that more learned behavior?
I would say it's something I didn't know I would be good at. I've had a lot of fun with the creativity of those kind of things, and even the stock videos with the quippy lines. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I've had a lot of fun connecting with people that way. I mean, I started my own podcast because I love having those conversations, and I like sharing, helping other people share what they know, because to me that's a service. That's a
Yeah.
way that I can introduce people one to one all day and not make the same kind of impact that I have if I have a guest on the podcast who talks about what they do, who they are, why they do it, what they've learned, and then anybody who's listening is, oh, yeah, I want to learn more about that person, or that's the person I should get in touch with, or let me give Dara a call because I think that if she knows that person, maybe she knows somebody else who does something similar that I need in my industry. So it's sort of that service part of it that I think is great.
Will you give a shameless plug and drop the name of your podcast for us?
Sure. It's called Compelling Conversations Where Law Meets Business. And I'm the law,
Oh,
and the business is business leaders, business owners, people with great inspiring stories to tell who can teach people things and we can learn together.
oh, that's really cool. I'm definitely going to listen in on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So, in an effort to protect your time, because I'm sure you have lots of baby ducks nibbling you to death all over the place. So,
I
uh,
like that image. I like the image of the baby ducks.
yeah, no, I have a great client who he says that he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I just feel like I'm being nibbled to death by a million baby ducks right now.
I
Uh,
like that. That's so much better than like too much on my plate. I mean, that's not exactly, front burner, back burner. I like the ducks.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
pleasant way to go down, I suppose, if you're gonna go down.
Nibbled to death by baby ducks, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, it always gives me a really cool giggle. So I
Yeah,
think that's really funny.
I'm gonna
So
steal that.
yeah, please do. Shout out to Eric. Thanks for sharing that with me. So when it comes to businesses and business growth, like how do you guys help businesses grow and profit?
I mean, some of it comes down to inspiration. Sometimes it comes. I mean, I love being a cheerleader. It's like this, and this is what you can do. This is where I think you can go with this. This sounds great. I would say nobody should work with an attorney who doesn't believe in them, and don't work. I would say nobody should work with an attorney who only believes in them when things are going well, because that's the easy time. But I think what I do is, like I said, whether it's a legal audit or a discovery conversation, I try to get under the hood, and try to figure out, where are the weaknesses? What's going to come back to bite you? What could be shored up better? Where are your risks? What are you doing that is interfering with your profits and your bottom line and your growth? Are there things that in your relationships within the company or outside the company, or based on the way that you're structured, based on the way that you do business, that you can do differently to make the business better? And some of that is legal, and some of that is legal adjacent. Things that I've learned over 20 plus years practicing, things that I've learned in my own business, and things that I pick up from other people. Hey, listen, there's somebody who's doing this very similar thing, but on a subscription model. Have you thought about doing that? Well, how does that look? And then I can, give that information. Or, listen, you're getting bitten, probably not by baby ducks, but you're getting bitten by that cancellation policy, because let's talk about it. You have an outlay for labor, and you have an outlay for equipment 90 days before you have to provide the service. But you get a cancellation policy that says 45 days full refund. You're losing money. So, how do we structure that so that it's business friendly, so that you're not scaring people away, and you're not being intimidating about it, but how do we do it in a way that protects you? So I think that, business lawyers and all professionals, whether they're, real estate professionals, accountants, insurance brokers, anybody that business deals with, everybody's got to have their eye on the same thing, which is business. The business wants to grow, the business wants to profit, the business, whatever the business wants to do. Grow, profit, get ready for a sale, get ready for some sort of event, get ready to purchase something else, make them attractive to a buyer. Whatever it is the business wants, it's my goal to support that. So, and I may be answering questions that the business already has about, well, how do we do this? Or I may be coming up with my own suggestions. Let's think about all these. Okay, I've been through your insurance policies. I've been through your contracts. I looked at the employee handbook. I've spoken with a number of your leaders. Here's where I think there are some areas we can work on. And like we talked about earlier, it doesn't have to be snap your fingers, wave the wand, and we're going to make everything different. But here are some key things that I think you can do now that will make big changes. And then, here are some things that I think you want to work toward in the future. You want to make sure that your profit is right as compared to your costs. Simple idea. Something that people lose track of. Costs go up over time, and you don't increase the prices. Can you go in with a 30% price increase? Some industries you can, some industries you can't. Could you do it over time? Could you increase the prices for new clients? And then existing clients, do you want to grandfather them in, or do you want to give them a more gradual increase? So those are all the things that all the kinds of things that I look at when I'm working with a business, because like I said, my goal is getting that business to prosper, getting the entrepreneur, the leader, the owner to be fulfilled and excited about the business and doing what they want to do, and having that support to have something, kind of finding those things that maybe somebody isn't conscious of on a daily basis.
Ooh, that's a lot of powerful strategy. So what a cool piece that you bring in. I think some of the folks in your space probably don't focus as heavily on that. It's more like, hey, let's just check the boxes. You're like everybody else, and I'm not. No one else is. We're all unique and have unique needs. So I think that's really beautiful, the way that you guys show up for people, and you can tell that you really care, which is important. I want to feel like the people I work with care about me, and not not anything but them, right? Not that those people are out there, but they might be. Well, how about this? Let's do a little fire round, get you on your way so you can go out and save the world a little bit more. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, my mindset's just not right, what's a piece of advice you could share with me to point me in the right direction?
I would say you can't take care of your business until you take care of yourself. I think that hopefully the days of I'm completely drained, I'm completely spent, I've given everything I've got to this business and I'm falling apart are over. I think that the most important something somebody can do is, and it depends on the business, and it depends on the person, and depends on the industry and the schedule. Sometimes it's as simple as, like, I have a calendar entry that's called work on other things Wednesdays, which means that I don't take client appointments on Wednesdays. If I'm recording, podcasts, that's fine. If I'm meeting with, referral contacts and networking contacts, or I'm working on the cases, working on the matters, but I don't, there's certain things that I just don't do on Wednesdays. I have a friend who carves out an hour every morning. Everyone knows 10 to 11, you don't bother him. That's his meditation time. It's not a formal meditation practice. That's his, I sit in my office with a cup of coffee. I listen to some music on my headphones, and I just kind of recenter myself. So I think that, it gets said too often, but that self-care is so important. I think it gets probably said too often kind of as a hackneyed expression, but I don't think it's getting done often enough, and it's very few of us are trauma surgeons. Very few of us are transplant surgeons who, need to be ready to go on a moment's notice, where you're just springing into action. Take some time, take 15 minutes, go walk around the parking lot of your building, go downstairs, sit in the lobby of your building. If you want to get out of your office, just get yourself some space, listen to music, listen to a podcast, read a book. Just take some time to, to have a deep breath and a cup of coffee if you want, or an iced tea. I'm an iced tea drinker. So I think that, my advice is always just take care of yourself, check in with yourself, because if you're going 100 miles an hour at the business, and at the end of the day, there's just nothing left for you or for your family or for your friends, what are you doing it for? I mean, you're doing, you have the business because it's what you love and it's what you want to do. But, the big other part of it is obviously you're looking to support your family. You're looking to make money. You're looking to provide a lifestyle for yourself or increase the level of your lifestyle, whatever it is you're looking to do. Make sure that you're checking in with yourself, because if you're just completely drained, you're not doing it as well as you could.
Well, I mean, everybody pretty much is wanting to get to the same destination. Everybody pretty much wants to be happy, right? And if you're like killing yourself, like that's kind of the opposite of happiness. And that was definitely a good mic drop that you started with there. It's like, hey, if you can't take care of you, you definitely can't take care of the business, because you're never going to be able to give what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Absolutely.
really, really
And
profound.
and it's also like we were talking about people you surround yourself with. Those people are tough to be around. The people who are, pulling their hair out, mumbling to themselves while they're walking in the hallway, and kind of snapping at people as you go. It's not people anyone wants to work with, and it's going to come across to the people you're dealing with, whether it's a retail setting, it's an online setting, it's phone calls, whatever, whoever you're dealing with is going to sense that. They're going to get that. Yeah, the business is doing well, but this is not a pleasant person to be around.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's like hurt people, right? And so
Yeah,
if you're hurting
exactly.
like
Yeah.
that, you're going to really lash out in some way and it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
be conducive to what you're looking for.
Absolutely
So
not. Yeah. Sure.
speaking of self-care, what's something in your
Yeah.
life that's non-negotiable?
Family time. Family time's non-negotiable. Time at the park with my daughter, playgrounds, those kind of things, non-negotiable. And friends. I mean, I have friends who are all very busy. Mothers, not mothers, taking care of older parents, live all across the country. And my time with my friends and my family is really sacred to me. So, as crazy as it can be, first of all, you want that support system around you, the people who you can just be completely yourself with, and you can, whether it's cheering something that's great or crying over something that's not working. Those FaceTime conversations with my friends from across the country, or my morning check-in on the way to work with my best friend in Ohio. I need that, because I think otherwise it just, if I don't have that, I don't have the perspective I need to go into the day, or to go into, whatever it is I'm doing next. And, listen, those people may have a great advice for me. They may have no advice. They may just be willing to cheer me on or cry with me, or, give me a different perspective. But I need them there. I need to know that, like I said, whether I've got a big fight on my hands in court, big fight on my hands on the phone, mountains and mountains of paper, baby ducks nipping at my heels, whatever it is I have, I need to know that I have people who believe in me, who trust me, who will love me no matter whether I'm doing things that are perfect, rare, doing things that whether I'm doing things really well or I'm struggling, and that's what I need.
Yeah, brilliant. What's a favorite book to read, recommend, give away?
I would say I read a woman named Denise Kegler, who has a fascinating story about all kinds of work that she did for all kinds of big name celebrities and big brands. And she's now has her own brand management company. She's got a book called $40 and a Brand. And I'm going to forget the subtitle, but it's something to do about living your awesomeness, which is a cool phrase I really like. And she has a lot of the same philosophies I do, the sort of supporting entrepreneurs and supporting people and having them enjoy what they're doing and just be as awesome as they can be. And I think that, I love the book, and somebody that she just has this tremendous energy around helping people, with their brand and with the work that they're doing.
That sounds like an awesome book. I'm definitely going to read that.
It's a good one.
What's one message, if you could get it out to the entire world, that you would love to share?
I would say be generous and be vulnerable. So, share what you have, and be generous with that, but also share what you don't have, share what you need. Business, personal, I found that people are so willing to help. And I made that mistake early in my career where it's like, well, I have Google, I can figure it out. I'll figure out what service to use for that. I'll figure out from HR companies to where do you get a copier to what kind of insurance policies, all these kind of things. People are so willing to help if you just ask. Like, nobody's knocking on my door saying like, hey, Dara, I know you're going to get a new copier. Do you know where you're getting the lease from? That's not happening. Or like, hey, I know that you're looking for a document management system, and let me tell you what I'm using. If you let people know what you need, they're going to be generous and help. So I think those two things really go together is, give what you can, listen to other people's needs and see what you can do to help them, and let people know what you need so they can help you. Because I think that help is always out there, and you're always going to find those kind people who are willing to send you a recommendation, show you something, talk you through something, get on a Zoom call, share a screen and show you how to do something that you don't know how to do, or look at something that you don't know how to interpret. You just got to ask them. So I think that those two things, be generous and be vulnerable, kind of go right hand in hand.
Absolutely. Like, oh my gosh, if everybody was practicing that, like how awesome and happy would everybody be? And
Absolutely. Yeah.
like I wish you did have that time machine you were talking about earlier. We would go
Yeah,
back and
that's right.
and tell young Kevin that it's okay. Hey, you can say I don't know and mean it. It took me 30 years to get to that point. literally.
We'd have to go back and talk to young Dara too, because these are these are not things that I was born with.
Yeah, we'll make a couple of stops on the way. I know
Fair
some other
enough.
folks we could swing by too, but
That's right.
yeah. All right, all right. Well, tell me what freedom means to you, Dara.
I think it is. That's a good question. I think it's being able to do the things that I want to do, being able to spend time with friends and family, being able to support my clients, having that choice and that freedom, can't define it that way, but so having the choice and having that freedom and ability to take care of myself, take care of my family, take care of my friends, take care of my clients, with and ideally without that overlying or overarching stress of issues that are coming up, or when you have that, to have the ability and to have the tools to work around them. So I think that a lot of it comes down to choosing how I want to spend my time and who I want to spend my time with and what I want to spend my time doing, and knowing that when things aren't working out that way, that I have the tools or I have the resources or I have the people around me who are going to help.
Very cool. All right, last question. Where can
Okay.
people go to learn more about you and connect with you?
I am on LinkedIn all the time. So my name on LinkedIn, pretty easy. Find some fun videos there, I hope. And then the firm website is rosenbaumtaylor.com. So you can find out what we do. And always happy to hear from people, whether you're, in my area, not in my area, always happy to make those connections. Just having lived in different parts of the country, knowing people in all parts of the country, I generally have lots of great referrals. And I'm always happy to talk to somebody about what they're looking for, what they need, what kind, just to help them hone in on who they might want to talk to, whether it's me or somebody else. So, I try to be generous with my time, and somebody is willing to be vulnerable, and let me know what they need, or let me help them through figuring out what they need. I'm always happy to help.
Wow, such a cool person. I love
Thank you.
everything that you've shared
Thank you
today.
so much.
Thanks for really sharing your genius and your heart with us. Like,
Thank
really,
you. Really
really
appreciate
cool.
that.
I was grateful that people like you exist when I come across them.
Thank you.
So,
That's very sweet. Thank you very much.
yeah, huge part of the solution. So, you guys, man, I would be all over her if I was you and you want to connect with somebody that's powerful. She will get you away from the baby ducks and protect you from being nibbled to death. Um, so definitely go and check out her stuff, and of course we'll have that in the show notes for you guys. Well, is there anything I could have asked that I didn't ask that you'd definitely love to share before we get out of here?
No, I think just, I think overall, when people are, in business, working in business, working on business, they should be loving what they do, and they should be enjoying the way that they're doing it. And if they're not, work with somebody to try to figure out why not. And if that's a financial stress, if that's a culture stress, if that's a personal stress, if that's an industry stress, whatever it is, try to work through it, because listen, life's too short to be unhappy.
Ditto. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like if we all find our joy, it makes things so much easier. So I love that
Absolutely.
you said that. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for being here with us. I'm really
Thanks,
grateful
Kevin. This was
that
wonderful. Really enjoyed this.
yeah. Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Thanks for being here. And
Thank
I
you.
think we're going to have you back for sure. There's too much greatness in there that we didn't
Sounds
get
good.
to.
Love to do it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. If you made it this far, you have great taste in podcasts. Thanks for sticking around. We love y'all. We'll see you next time on the Unlock Your Freedom podcast.